2014 has been a great year for film and TV, and looking forward, 2015 looks even greater, and 2016 has Deadpool. 2016 is just going to be fucking awesome. Secret of the Tomb puts the stopper in the Night of the Museum franchise and concludes the story of Larry Daly and his waxy friends. The magic of the tablet is failing away due to some sort of weird corrosion, and Atman Ra reveals that he does not know why. So Larry and all the primary cast travel to Britain to find Atman Ra's parents, who do know the reason why. Ben Kingsley played Atman Ra's father brilliantly in a scene that almost stole the film. Once inside the museum, their journey is disturbed first of all by Jed and Octavius going missing, and second of all by Lancelot turning evil and stealing the tablet. The film balances an excellent ensemble cast with humour, action, emotion and wonder, and I really do recommend it. Out of the three films, it's probably my second favourite, with the original in the top spot and Smithsonian coming last. The only reason why Ben Kingsley did not steal this film is because of a cameo by my second favourite mutant. Hugh Jackman's scene with Lancelot was the crowning moment of this film. Exodus Gods and Kings was the last film I saw in 2014, just a few hours before the year ended. I've got to say it is worth going to see. The visual effects are very good and the actors are very talented. The word epic would not be in misuse when used to describe this film. One thing I didn't like so much about this movie was the way it played fast and loose with the existence of God. There are moments in the film where it's made to appear as though the 10 plagues are natural occurrences, and that instead of talking to God, Moses has gone crazy. Now, I am an atheist, but I like the stories from the Bible, and if I'm going to see a biblical movie, I expect the existence of God to be unquestionable in that movie. It's like, if I watch Lord of the Rings, I expect Gandalf to be there. I'm not expecting to watch 3 hours of a schizophrenic Frodo. A lot of people didn't like this movie due to reasons relating to the ethnicity of the cast, but I honestly didn't mind, and frankly I didn't even notice because of how much I was enjoying the movie. It might be a bit long for some people's liking, but it does need to be that long so that they can fit in all of the story. It's got a kick-ass soundtrack, it's well directed, it is very emotional and shocking in some places, but it's got enough humour to balance that out, and not so much humour that it becomes Exodus the sitcom. As much as I did enjoy it, it just fell short of making my personal top 10 list, which is as follows. Coming in at 10th place is The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I enjoyed a lot more than a lot of people, although it did still have quite a few flaws, which is why it comes last on the list. In 9th place is 22 Jump Street, in 8th place was The Lego Movie, in 7th place is Night of the Museum Secret of the Tomb. You know what I thought about that, I've just done a bloody review on it. In 6th place was Dracula Untold, which I did a review of here. In 5th place is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which I have here. In 4th place is Guardians of the Galaxy. Captain America the Winter Soldier comes in at 3rd place. I preferred the first Avenger to this movie, but that doesn't stop this movie from being fucking awesome. X-Men Days of Future Past was absolutely amazing. Not only because it erased X-Men The Last Stand and X-Men Origins Wolverine, but just because of the character development that you get from all these mutants, and Quicksilver. That guy is awesome. And in 3rd place is The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, the Hobbit film which is closest to the Lord of the Rings movies in terms of its scope. It was just absolutely breathtaking, it really was just great. My biggest disappointment of 2014, prepare for a bit of a rant, was The Inbetweeners 2. This film had its moments, but I'm gonna be brutally honest here. It's been a long time since I've seen a film where the best part was the ending credits. As soon as the movie's title appeared, I got a slight sinking feeling in my heart. It opened up with a parody of Harry Potter, and ended up being a parody of itself. The direction gave the film a very different feel to the previous installments, too different, and the script felt less like it was written by the show's creator and more like it was taken from the fan fiction of various 13-year-olds. One of the selling points of the Inbetweeners TV series was that it was embarrassing to watch with your parents. This movie was just embarrassing to watch, full stop. Even Die Hard 5 was better than that. Speaking of TV shows, there have been some new and very welcome additions to the small screen this year. While Marvel is quite frankly thrashing DC in terms of movies, the DC TV shows put Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to shame, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't that good anyway. Gotham made for an interesting look at some of the origins of Batman's more famous villains, with Jim Gordon as the moral centre. This show got better and better with each episode, and the highlight was, without a doubt, the Penguin, played brilliantly by Robin Lord Taylor. The Flash ran onto our screens and into the universe of the Arrow, and let me tell you, this was an incredibly fresh, engaging show that found a nice balance between villain of the week and overarching story. Barry Allen is a fast, funny and relatable protagonist, and the supporting cast are diverse, fleshed out characters that really make this a standout show of 2014. And now, the Reigns. We pour his halls, with not a soul to hear. Season 4 of Game of Thrones concluded, leaving fans with an array of cliffhangers to sweat over until April. If I hadn't read the books, this would be my favourite series by a mile. As it happens, I have read the books, and my favourite one was A Storm of Swords Part 2, from which this series was based. My favourite series probably remains Series 3. The shocking moments that Game of Thrones has become famous for were handled very well, and let's face it, there were a lot. There were some changes from the books, but I'm actually okay with most of them. What I disliked about the series is the way it was paced. Bran and Sansa's storylines have concluded to the end of A Dance with Dragons, while most of the characters are still at the end of Storm of Swords, leaving them 2 more books worth of material to turn into the series, with Bran and Sansa left with nowhere to go. I'm worried that this will make Series 5 very confused and conflicting in terms of the timelines. However, Season 4 did hold some fantastic scenes, many of which were massive spoilers, the best of which is undoubtedly Tyrion's trial. That was probably Peter Dinklage's best performance throughout the entirety of the show. Season 5 of Game of Thrones will begin airing in April next year, and I am looking forward to it. I am just a little bit worried about whether or not it will seep into The Winds of Winter, which has yet to be released. I know that if it does do that, I will probably stop watching. I'm also looking forward to a selection of Marvel Netflix series, which will hopefully stand up to the bar that DC's shows have set. Another series that I'm looking forward to is Heroes Reborn, a reboot of the Heroes series created by Tim Kring. Jack Coleman is so far the only cast member we know to be returning, who will reprise his role as Noah Bennett, and it will follow on from Season 4 and tie up some loose ends, but mostly it will focus on new characters. While it is possible that this show will be a letdown, and near inevitable that it won't be as good as the original series, I do have faith in Tim Kring. I mean, this is the guy who brought us Sylar and Hiro Nakamura, 2 of the most awesome characters ever. I mentioned earlier that 2015 would be better than 2014, so I'll end this episode with my top 10 anticipated of 2015. In 10th place, Minions. In 9th place, Spectre, the upcoming James Bond film. In 8th place is Pan, the origin of Peter Pan. In 7th place is the Fantastic Four, who are probably my least favourite superhero team. The only one of them I really like is Johnny Storm. Hopefully this reboot will be better than the previous 2 films. Terminator Genisys is coming in at 6th place. At place number 5 is Big Hero 6, which looks like it's going to be absolutely amazing. My 4th most anticipated is Ant-Man, which will be the last movie of Marvel's Phase 2. 3rd most anticipated is Star Wars The Force Awakens. 2nd most anticipated is Avengers Age of Ultron. And my ultimate number 1 most anticipated film of 2015 should come as no surprise to those who know me well: Jurassic World. Jurassic World looks really, really cool, and I really want to go see it. I've wanted to see it for about 3 years now. So it's definitely the most anticipated film of 2015. Of which this series is based. Oh, that was a bad idea. That was a bad idea.